The MNSRC podcast is back. In the Great White North, the snow is melting, the White Walkers are shrinking back to the holes that they crawled out of, and referee Jon Snow knows something. Alright, no more Game of Thrones references this month, I promise. This month we're going to take a tour of some pretty basic topics. We are going to ever so briefly revisit Offside, if only to clarify techniques and communication. But we promise most of this month's pod is going to focus on pretty basic rules and recognition and finally get us away from Offside. Let's get to it. Let's get the Offside thing out of the way first. This first clip was featured by Pro as its play of the week for Week 9 from Real Salt Lake versus San Jose on May 1st.
And it's San Jose and Real Salt Lake 0-0. Salinas on the left side again, step over looking to take on Beltran, wants to chip one inside, has a man wide open on the right, didn't see if the ball is shot, it's in the back of the net, and it will count. Goal! There's a little bit of confusion, Paul Caligiuri, but Wando jumps up, it's a goal, nobody likes it at Rio Tinto Stadium. Will you listen at the reaction? But it is the Earthquakes up 1-0.
Well, I think it stuns Real Salt Lake and Jeff Cassar here. He's wondering why isn't the flag go up? Is Wondolowski offsides? But really, the entire moment here, Salinas creates this play, cuts inside, tries to take the shot.
That's offside, Paul. It's offside.
The question is, was he in offside position
It
when the shot
absolutely
took place?
is. Paul, and you see the reaction up the replay. That is an offside. Clear as day. You look at the reaction here from Jeff Cassar.
Pro originally stated this was the correct decision, but in its week in review released May 27th, changed its mind in part due to a poll in which over 80% of respondents felt Beckerman's touch was not a controlled and deliberate play, and instead stated the Beckerman touch should be classified as a deflection. That would make the decision made during the match incorrect. Regardless, that's not the reason we're showing this clip. Rather, the reason we're showing the clip is to point out Vasoli's perfect technique for this play. We have had quite a few people ask us how the AR is supposed to read and signal these complicated situations, and AR Tony Vasoli demonstrates it perfectly. He recognizes Wondolowski was offside, but he also recognizes that the ball came off at least one and possibly two Salt Lake defenders, and he is not in a position to determine if that was a deflection or a deliberate play by either defender. So Vasoli does not raise the flag to signal offside, nor does he run up the line to signal a goal. Instead, he stands at attention. This is a clue to Soren Stoica, the referee, that Vasoli has seen something that might overrule this goal. Stoica recognizes what Vasoli is reacting to and visually and possibly audibly through his headset lets Vasoli know he believes the Beckerman touch was deliberate and thus wipes out the offside decision. Vasoli responds by jogging up the touchline to indicate all clear for the goal. This is a really nice example of how we should all be executing this decision. ARs need to recognize the potential for an offside decision, but need to work with the referee, who often will have the best ability to determine whether the defender touch is a deflection or not. By standing at attention, the AR sends a signal to the referee that, quote, something's up, and subsequently, the needed exchange of information will take place quickly to get the decision correct. Our next clip, sticking with interesting moments from Major League Soccer games, comes from the Orlando City-New England match from May 8th.
Refs putting one again in the box, cleared in the back by Okugo. It was Agudelo making his mark on the left side. And really, Nando, we talked about this, Paul, in the pre-production. This New England Revolution team, maybe not, your craftiest or brightest franchise, but you look at their team, and I have to agree with you, one of the more complete squads in Major League Soccer. Agudelo on the left, you got Lee Wynn, you got guys like Jones in the back, Charlie Davies. I mean, they can be dangerous.
What you see is a very high collective technique level, and I admire Orlando.
This is always one of my favorite gotcha moments to point out to people. Almost no players realize this is a violation. Almost no coaches know this is a violation. And, alas, almost no referees know this is a violation. New England is called for offside, with the indirect free kick being awarded deep in the Orlando City penalty area. The Orlando goalkeeper takes the kick and plays the ball short to a defender standing near the top of the penalty area, but not outside the penalty area. He traps the ball and plays it upfield. The defender does not need to be outside of the penalty area at the taking of this free kick. Only the opposing team needs to leave the penalty area. However, any free kick taken from within a team's own penalty area must leave the penalty area to properly enter play. If it's touched by either team before it leaves the penalty area, the free kick needs to be retaken. Most people know this is a rule for goal kicks, but most people forget it also applies to free kicks taken from within a team's own penalty area. I would suspect this was more of a case of the referee crew simply not paying attention, but to be fair, the assistant referee on this side should be lined up with the second to last defender, who happens to be the defender that plays the ball before it leaves the penalty area. So it's not like the AR wasn't looking right at the guy when he touches the ball before it leaves the penalty area. Is this a significant error? No. There's no attacker in the vicinity, and maybe we can slough this off as a trivial infraction that we let slide for the sake of game flow. But it is an infraction, and we do need to recognize it for that. If an attacker jumps a goal kick or free kick before it leaves the penalty area later in this match, and the referee now has to call it or yield a dangerous goal-scoring opportunity, that's going to be kind of difficult to explain. Okay, next we have an incident from the North American Soccer League match between Minnesota United and Atlanta played on May 9th.
Extra player on the field.
As Atlanta in white passes the ball forward, the ball rolls close to and possibly strikes a duck that had decided to park itself on the field. One would expect that because the referee allowed play to continue, the ball did not actually hit the duck, as hopefully we all know that that would be considered outside interference. Had the ball struck the duck, the referee would have had to halt play, have the duck removed from the field, and restart with a dropped ball. As it turned out, the duck apparently left the field on his own, and an insider with the National Sports Center told us that he was actually sent off for foul language. He probably said something like "quack off." We would hope that the referee obviously understood this rule, being a pro referee. If not, he would probably get a deduction on his assessment score, being not all that he was quacked up to be. Seriously though, this is a nice example of outside interference and how to handle it. So if you thought we included this clip for no other reason than to provide a bunch of really awful duck puns, you would be correct. Next up, we'll look at another often ignored, but yet also often significant law violation that matters, the foul throw. Let's start with this clip from the Real Salt Lake Philadelphia match back on March 14th.
Those are the guys that were field players as goalkeepers. You know, you could ping a ball back to them and they would be just fine.
There's a shot far posted in, and Raimondo can't believe it. RSL is down 2-1. Aristogrieta has the
throw in. And the big clearance, Real Salt Lake just plays quickly. Jamison Olave gets caught ball watching, and despite his recovery speed, Aristogrieta pulls away into space. Great throw in from Christian Maidana, even though he did raise that back leg. Looked like it was a...
This is a pretty nice goal by Philadelphia's Fernando Aristogrieta, and I'm sorry if I butchered that name, as his teammate Christian Maidana, and I probably butchered that one as well, catches Salt Lake's defense napping on the throw-in. Except that Maidana takes a foul throw. See how his foot lifts up? We'll grant that a good number of foul throws are probably trivial offenses, but when a player lifts a foot off the ground as part of a technique designed to throw the ball as far as possible, that's an infraction that actually provides an advantage. In this case, it's an advantage that leads to a goal. That is a bad combination and a bad miss by the officiating crew. A throw-in should have been awarded to Salt Lake at the spot of the infraction, instead of Salt Lake having to now take a kickoff down a goal. As one can imagine, this happens far more often in youth matches. Have a look at this one. Oh, where's the mark? The red player clearly lifts his foot on this throw-in as he attempts to throw the ball in as far as possible to set up a scoring chance for his teammate. Without lifting his back leg, he can't throw the ball as far. His teammate is unable to volley the cross on, and their teammate doesn't wind up with a sitter with only the goalkeeper to beat. It doesn't matter if we're dealing with professional players or U10. A foul throw is a foul throw, and if you let players get away with it, you might allow these infractions to affect the game result. In the end, that's on you. Now let's look at a tremendous sequence and performance from some very young officials in a U11 match. Or is he just signaling for the sub?
Take it out of the box. You're not going to see it. It's right here.
Wait, are they on the same side?
Good job, AR. What we see here is a goal kick by the blue goalkeeper. He rather unwisely attempts to play the ball across the width of the penalty area, and a green opponent manages to jump the ball, drive in, and score. The problem is that the ball never left the penalty area. According to Law 16, the ball must leave the penalty area to be in play, and that doesn't happen, so this goal should not count. The referee fails to see this and initially awards the goal, but the bench side assistant referee recognizes the ball did not leave the penalty area, and as the teams are lining up for the kickoff, he raises his flag to get the referee's attention. Once the referee sees the flag, the AR then provides the information to the referee of what he saw. The referee takes this information, applies it, and properly overturns the goal, awarding a retaken goal kick to blue. Critics of this process will argue that the assistant is in no position to, quote, overrule the referee. But the assistant is not overruling the referee. The assistant is simply providing information. The referee can then decide to accept that information, or he may decide to ignore it. As an assistant, you would tell the referee, I'm not sure if you saw it, but I'm 100% sure that that ball did not leave the penalty area. If the referee is 100% sure that it did, then he's got the final say and he can dismiss that information. Or the referee might say, wow, I was pretty sure that it did, but you're 100%, and I'm just pretty sure, so we'll go with you. It does not matter that the assistant referee is further away from the incident than the referee. This is a game-critical decision. Goals are almost always game-critical decisions, and if the assistant has information that might change a game-critical decision, he or she has a responsibility to simply provide that information. Assist, not insist. For a pair of teenagers, this is an exceptionally courageous and confident decision that took place only because they understood their responsibilities and trusted one another. This was an absolutely outstanding piece of officiating that is often missed at even higher levels of the game. Great job. Our final sequence will review our old friend, technical area management. This is from a U11 game at a tournament held in May. Nice job. The white team's coach spent about 40% of this game outside of his technical area. Most of that time he was simply coaching or encouraging his players, but some of these excursions border on the side of ludicrous. Eventually we have a penalty kick given. This is the right call and a great catch by the referee because the foul occurs after the ball is released. A lot of people miss these fouls because they simply follow the ball, but this is a clear, careless trip inside the penalty area. Alas, that's not the point of this clip. The point is that the coach leaves the technical area, this time with the explicit reason to visually and audibly dissent the call. I don't care how old the players are or the fact that it appears this team had just one coach. This is an automatic dismissal. Period. End of story. Leaving the technical area to dissent a call is a dismiss every day of the week and twice on Tuesday. Folks, if you don't enforce the technical area, the coaches will wander. Maybe it doesn't matter at first, but eventually they will use their wandering as a tool to attempt to influence you or dissent your calls. If this coach had thrown his arms up and yelled out the call from his technical area, it probably could have just been a tell, or maybe even just an ask. But when he leaves the technical area with the purpose of dissenting, he has just bought himself a one-way ticket to the parking lot. Maybe if the referee had just dealt with his wandering earlier and shown the coach that he needs to stay in his technical area when the penalty kick was called, this would have never happened. Regardless, when it does happen, you don't have a choice. This coach needs to walk. Don't hesitate. Dismiss him. One more point on using ask, tell, dismiss. Thus far this season, we've had some great reporting from referees dealing with irresponsible behavior, but we have also heard a somewhat disturbing trend in counterpoints from coaches. When using ask, be polite and use words like please and thank you. And when using tell, do not corner yourself by threatening to throw the coach out. We're hearing a lot of grapevine chatter about referees using tell on coaches and using phrases like, coach one more time and I will throw you out. Please do not say things like this. You are either holding the equivalent of a gun to the coach's head or making an empty threat if you don't then follow through. Instead, use generic commentary for tell, such as, Coach, I've asked you politely once, and you are continuing to disrespect my position. If you continue to act in this manner, I may be forced to take action that I cannot guarantee is going to leave you any more satisfied than you are currently. This kind of comment does not tie you to any future action, but it does imply that discipline could occur if the coach does not correct the behavior. This is a far more effective choice of words. Well, we hope that returning to the variation of a new season has provided a few new topics for you to keep your eye open for in the weeks and months ahead. We're just getting started with soccer in Minnesota for 2015, so we'll try to keep providing hints and tidbits as the season moves forward.